All right, we got Chris and Parker from the Messenger Birds. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, thanks for having us.
So I was rocking along to the new album, Everything Has to Fall Apart eventually, before you guys jumped on. So looking forward to talking to you guys about that. But before we do, why don't you just let us know some of your roots? You know, how'd you get into music?
We talk about
Chris,
this all the time. Yeah. How do we get into music? I mean, I started playing drums when I was 10 years old, and I just, like, the more I did it, the more I got obsessed with it. And definitely, like, first bands I was playing along with were classic rock artists, you know, your Jimi Hendrix, The Who, the Led Zeppelin, and everything like that. And
Yes.
then just started growing from there, like whatever was hit at the time. And when I got a drum set that, like, just I couldn't get enough of it. And Parker had maybe a little different at the start, but when we were 14, like, we were playing together then. So we were jamming in the basement, and just that's actually where it started for us. Basement Brothers.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Both my parents are musicians. My mom's a pianist, and my dad's a trumpet player. And they've both played in a lot of different ensembles and church gigs and accompanists and all that sort of stuff. But that was sort of I was born into it, whether I liked it or not. And so I took some piano lessons as a little kid and kind of shied away from it, just because it's like, you know, you have your parent as your teacher, and that's not always the way you want it to be.
Right.
Not always the coolest way to do it. And then I was kind of obsessed with drums, actually. Like, I always wanted to be a drummer. And then I think, like, 7th grade, School of Rock came out, and that wasn't like the deciding factor.
I love
but
that
like,
movie.
that
I actually
was,
just rewatched that movie like 2 days ago.
that was one of the ones that, like, made me feel like guitar was the one I wanted to really pick up. So I was like, you know, I got a guitar that summer. And so I was like 13 years old and started playing guitar, took lessons at a little music shop, and like a little mom and pop music shop that still exists, actually. I don't know how they're doing right now during the pandemic, but my guitar teacher was just like this dude who was like a big football guy, talked about the Lions all the time. And like, you wouldn't assume that he's a guitar player, but like, he got me in all sorts of classic rock starting out, you know, very similar to Chris. And then when me and Chris met, we clicked, and we just played together in his parents' basement, made some cassette tapes on a karaoke machine that are probably
Nice.
laying around somewhere, but
I still have them.
we haven't listened to them in years, but I'm sure they sound great.
So was that let's see, 10, 14? So you guys linked up around, was that like early high school, late middle school?
Early high school.
Coming into high school.
Nice. So
we played hockey together.
Yeah, that was actually like music had nothing to do with how we met each other in the first place. It was coming in as incoming freshmen doing like a hockey conditioning camp.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got paired up. We didn't know each other prior, but we were like the same size, same build. So we were like weightlifting partners for the whole summer. So over the course of time, we got to know each other, and then started talking about music and found out that each of us was a musician. So that's when we started meeting up and playing.
I feel
Nice.
like a lot of people started playing music that way, but very few of the people, like, created bands that lasted with those same people. So we might actually be pretty lucky with that situation.
Well, I think the difference is we didn't actually start a band then. We just like kind of jammed and then played hockey and just, you know, had classes together. And like we were best friends throughout high school and
right.
But we didn't actually form a band until the Messenger Birds.
Yeah. And I think, you know, you guys are a two-piece, and I think, you know, the smaller the band, the more nimble sometimes, you know what I mean? So, you know, if you can actually operate with just two people, it's a lot easier, and there's not as many dynamics to get into trouble as far as this person can't do it, we need to replace that person and everything. If you guys are just close friends and happen to be in a band together, then I feel like it makes things a little bit easier.
Yeah, that was the entire reason that we even did
Definitely.
it this way. I mean, we were both at the time just like kind of either losing interest in whatever band we were in, or things weren't going very well. Members had, you know, various issues or conflicts of interest or whatever the reason was. But we were just like watching when the Red Wings still didn't suck. We were watching a Red Wings game and eating a pizza, and it was kind of like a weekly uh get together that we did. And then we were just like, dude, why don't we just like go back to what we were doing when we were 14, because it was always fun. And then
Yeah.
it got more serious, and we were just like, I mean, this works with the two of us. I have all the tools I need to make it sound like we're more than two guys, so
Mhm.
so why not just keep it that?
Yeah, I mean, there's some great bands who are really doing it. You know, the White Stripes, the Black Keys, and there's a newish band, a few years old now.
Royal Blood's been
Royal
killing it
Blood. That's
for
what I'm talking. Yeah,
years,
Royal
man.
Bloods. I saw them live, and they sounded great too. You know, so I love how what's that guy do? He plays through like a bass amp, or he plays a guitar and into a bass, and it's one or the other. I heard he either uses a bass with a guitar amp or vice versa, and
He's
that's how he
got
gets.
I know he's got he plays a bass, and I am almost positive because a buddy of ours that used to work at Third Man Records had seen his setup like up close and personal at some festival that he was at.
Mhm.
And I want to say that he uses like a bunch of amps.
Like
Mm.
six of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what that he
some
definitely does that
guitar,
too. Right.
some bass, I'm pretty sure too. But
Yeah.
yeah, he plays through a bass and then just has a bunch of pedals. And
It's genius. Makes it, thickens up that sound nice and good. Yeah, I saw them at Cal Jam a couple of years ago. It was an epic show. It was. Are you guys still in Detroit right now?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
we're Detroit adjacent. We're in the suburbs, but generally speaking, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, there was this it was this 1 day festival kind of thing, $99, and it was like Queens of the Stone Age, Royal Blood, Foo Fighters, the Struts, all these bands that I like loved. Liam Gallagher for $99. I was like, this is like the perfect amount of festival for me. $99, and with a lineup like this, it was epic.
That's like all the giants of alternative rock.
Yeah, I think Dave Grohl is like a co-founder, or it was like a revived festival that
Oh,
he
okay,
had some sort of involvement in bringing back or something
that
like
makes
that.
sense.
But so you guys start jamming together, and you're like, hey, yeah, this works, and this is fun, and we don't have to deal with as many members and all the having to deal with all the working pieces that comes with sometimes. So how'd you guys take it to just like getting back into a basement or a rehearsal space and jamming like you did as kids to maybe taking things a little bit more formally?
We just like after talking, we were watching like hockey games and stuff, eating pizza, whatever, and our bands were fizzling out, and we're just like, let's see if we can do anything. And it just went so well once we did. So like we were able to like just jam it out, everything vibed really well, and we wrote like 5 songs kind of like out the bat. It's like let's just sit down and like hammer them out. And then we started playing live around Detroit, and the response was like just so great. Like everybody was so supportive of it, and that kind of in my head like gave more motivation to just like, dude, let's keep doing it. Let's see where it goes. And I feel like we've just been up in the bar since then.
Yeah, I think too, like we've talked about this before once or twice, but we definitely starting this band, we're restarting in a different scene from what we were used to and what we were generally around because Detroit has a lot of different like music scene pockets, and every once in a while they cross over, but there's definitely I don't want to say clicks. It's not the right word necessarily, even though things can be clicky, but there's different pockets.
Different
So
circles.
yeah, right. So we had to like completely kind of start over and reconnect with a lot of new people that had been in Detroit music scenes forever, but just were never really connected with us. And then just from myself working in a bunch of different music venues in the area, made it a little bit easier. But like every bit of it was really this like punk DIY, do everything yourself as much as humanly possible, meet as many people, make as many connections, and just like, you know, build everything from ground zero. Not really having to, or not expecting to rely on anybody else. That's always kind of been like the ethos of our band.
Right. So that always helps, you know, if you got some connections at the venues you want to play at. So it sounds like you at least had that going for you. Being friends, was it easier to get people at your shows because you guys are, you know, really close friends? So you get kind of more leverage over your friends, like, hey, come on out, you know. It's not just Chris's, it's Parker's show also. So, you know, did that make it a little easier to get friends
it
out
might
to the
have
show?
started like that. I can't really totally remember like at the beginning, but it definitely was friends at the beginning, friends and family, and maybe that helped a little bit to get them started on the first few. It's hard to say.
So you you know, did you guys just say, okay, well, let's record an EP then, and is, you know, that first EP that you guys released, the Good Years, were those some of the first songs that you guys wrote?
Actually,
yeah, pretty much.
There was one before that. That's just not like in the public.
There's a different EP. Yeah.
We have two EPs that came out. The Good Years is one of them, and there was a different one called Everything and Nothing. I don't know if that's anywhere on the internet right now, but that was like the first 5 songs that we wrote. And then The Good Years came maybe a few months after that.
I gotta say, after that, your single "No Pardon," I was rocking to that earlier, and I'm loving that one. So how did things progress after you guys, you know, got to maybe that second EP? What were some of the things that had changed since the beginning once you dropped that one?
The second one, the Good Years EP, I feel like was really just kind of you know, picking it up where we left off on that first group of songs, and it was all kind of just like this raw punk rock and roll energy. And a lot of the stuff we were writing was just like sit in a room together and jam and see what happens. And then going from that EP to then starting to write things that would end up on the Everything Has to Fall Apart eventually LP. It really started to go more from just like jamming whatever came out naturally to like that, and then what weird sounds can we layer in here to you know, push the envelope and do some things that we haven't done before, and you know, adding some more pedals and toys to the board, and what combinations make cool sounds, and you know, how much strain on myself can I possibly, like how many things can I multitask at one time and actually be successful doing it?
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed
it's always a game.
I feel like Phantom Limb, which is it seems to be kind of your breakout off the album, is that I feel like you're definitely using some interesting sounds in there and getting a real cool effect.
Yeah, I mean, all of it is based upon an octave pedal and like a fuzz distortion. That's pretty much the root of everything. And just different layers of sub octaves to make it sound weirder and lower and synthier, and like the less and less like a guitar I can make it sound like, the cooler I think it is. So not that I don't think guitar sounds cool, because obviously that's why I like to play it. But
well, it's cool to make a guitar not sound like a guitar.
Right.
Yeah, right.
It's awesome.
It's cool
I mean,
to make
Jack
a guitar
White is the
sound
poster
like,
boy of that.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all know what a regular guitar plugged in straight into an amp sounds like, you know, but we've heard it. So let's make it more interesting.
Exactly.
So you guys, you know, you released a couple EPs, and then, you know, for the past couple for years, you guys have been dropping singles, and now you got this full LP out. And as you said, Parker, you guys were a little bit more, I think you were trying to kind of distinguish the sound a little bit more and make it a little bit more unique through effects and all that. Did you guys take any other different steps with this new LP that would separate it from kind of the previous EPs?
The more sounds, definitely, but we used a drill for making more sounds. We used some like
Awesome.
this like synth bass that like just added an extra like subwoofer layer of tone, and we used something else in there, didn't we, Parker?
I mean, we've used a lot of stuff on that record. I mean, Steve's got some programmed percussion stuff in there that's like sprinkled in here and there, and just to enhance.
There was one point where I recorded drums. He like slowed it down to like, he recorded it in twice the bit rate, so he was able to like slow it down into like a half pace, and it just like stretches.
Yeah, he threw it into like a different session. He threw it into a different session, doubled the bit rate, and then threw it back into the original session, which was half the bit rate, and so it made it sound like really stretched out and slow and warped, and like you're like underwater.
We did some fun stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did that thicken it up too? I feel like slowing it down like that would really thicken it up.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it's not the prominent part of that drum track. It's on the title track. Everything Has to Fall Apart Eventually. It's in the like bridge groove. So like if you listen back to it, you'll probably be able to know exactly what we're talking about. But it's like kind of this background, like he's playing just this straight caveman like 1 and 3 kick and snare thing, that just like the entire intention was just to have it be like this ambient, like weird sounding thing in the background.
Super stretched out and underwater, as how it was described.
And I think Steve said it like, we're gonna make it sound like it's underwater.
I was like, what are we doing right now? We're gonna make it sound like it's underwater.
And
underwater.
Is Steve your guys' recording engineer, or was he the producer on this particular album?
But yeah, both.
Kind of both things. I mean, like, it's not like the way that we work with Steve is really we don't bring in like something super bare and then he like tells us how it's going to be. It's more of like a co-producer sort of thing, but he does have a huge effect on what the final product comes out sounding like, just because of I mean, he's a genius engineer, and always willing to try anything. And once you get him in there and in the zone, like we half the time don't know like how long he's going to be sitting there tweaking something. It'll be like 2 hours and he's just like, like he doesn't say a word to you once he's in that mode. And you're just like, okay, do you want us to come back in like a minute when you're done? Like what?
Right.
It'll be like the end of the day and we're like, all right, so like, are you done for the day? And then like we get an email at like 3 a.m. of like, all right, dudes, here's like the rough bounce. And we're like, oh, sweet, that sounds great. So you spent like another 4 hours in the studio after we left.
That's awesome though. That's awesome to have a producer who's that into it,
Yeah, he's great.
Definitely.
We refuse to work with anybody else at this point.
I was gonna say, did you guys work with him on the first 2 EPs also?
No,
we didn't.
We worked with our friend Ivan Fargo, who's in a sweet band around here called Those Hounds. He records at a studio called the Sound Shop in Chesterfield, Michigan.
Got it.
He's a great dude also, and Those Hounds is a pretty rad band.
I always love the variation on thes. Like I met a band and it was like them something or those. It's like, I like that. I like that variation. Thes,
articles and band names.
Yeah,
people are very particular about them.
There's the hounds, those hounds, both hounds.
Yeah, if you want to get kind of British about it or old school, so you guys, obviously, unfortunately, we can't, tour at this very moment. Do you guys have any plans on promoting the new LP? Have you been promoting it in any interesting ways? And what do you have coming up next?
So far, it's just been kind of doing interviews, and then we've done like we did a full front to back album, like live in studio session.
Nice.
That was streamed on YouTube, and then we did. It wasn't supposed to necessarily be like an album promotion thing, but we played the I Voted streaming festival around the election, and so that was another chance for us to play some songs off the record, and just trying to do some of those streams. And it doesn't replace a live show by any means, but doing what we can do, and other than that, I mean, I don't.
In the next coming year, we'd like to hopefully play some shows if everything works out. So we're kind of waiting on that. Like, you don't know how it's going to turn out, but if everything goes well, there could be some good vaccinations, and we might be able to get around a little bit.
Then you can vaccinate us with some of your rock and roll live.
We'll vaccinate you.
Yeah, let me vaccinate you.
Inject it into me.
Let me vaccinate you.
That's awesome, guys. So we'll look forward to hopefully getting safe enough where we can watch you guys rock again. And in the meantime, we'll be learning the songs on Everything Has to Fall Apart eventually. We like to end the interview by asking if you had one piece of advice for aspiring artists, what would it be?
I got one. You got one?
I got something.
I got lots of advice, but the main thing is
give it all to us. We want it all.
You got to do it. You got to keep doing it, man. But also just keep exploring all the different sounds that you can do, and just get out there and get to every place that you can, because it's easy to stay in one spot and to stay in the same mindset, but you just keep exploring, go to different places, and just keep playing music, and you'll be surprised with the response that you're going to get.
Yeah, I would to piggyback off of that. You don't need somebody else to make something happen. You can do all of it yourselves. You can figure out how to book tours. Everybody knows how to write an email. Just email blast everybody. You'll get almost no responses, but somebody will. Write terrible songs, play terrible shows. Eventually, you're going to get good at it. And that's
look at the bright side of all of it.
You have to go through the garbage to get to the good stuff. So you got to start somewhere. Just start, keep it going. If you got something good, eventually somebody's going to find it.
Totally. I hear that. And not that he's in your same genre, but I was just having a conversation with a different artist. Ed Sheeran has a quote about writing music's like a dirty faucet. You got to let the dirty water flow out before the clean water starts coming out. So that's how
true. We've written a lot
is.
of bad songs, and you don't get to hear any of them, but
a lot of dirty water.
You got to write the bad ones to let the good ones come out.
Yep. And
that's a good quote.
I think it was Amelia Earhart who said the best way to do it is to do it.
Bringing it backward.